We're going to come up over there and show the little scene over there. Look at that. Look at that. That looks pretty.
Gorgeous.
That does look nice. That's Phantom Ace right there over on the left side of the screen there. Where's my pointy stick? Right here. Phantom Ace and Roswell. On Sunday, they are going to have to make their way across through the fog. There's like a dense layer of fog, and it's nighttime in Innsmouth, and line of sight, they cannot see more than 6 inches.
Ooh.
It's like thick soup. So they're going to try and walk their way all the way across, the board, and try to convince the captain of the ship to let them on board. So very cool. Very cool. It's going to be a fun scenario. Go ahead and switch this. I think that's still the same camera. There, it switched. Yeah, because it's going to be awkward because, like that's camera 1 now, and the other one is. So let's get a sound check. Is there anybody on here tonight? Hello, 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 everybody. Anybody? Is it just Bessy and I?
No, GW rules.
GW rules. Now, have I been saying you're in Canada all this time and you're not actually in Canada? It's Michael, isn't it?
Was he the one that's like in Texas or something?
I thought he said he was in Tennessee or something last time.
I don't know.
Where are you at, GW?
He said one person was in Canada and they were like, no.
Yep. In Indy. What's that mean?
Probably Indiana.
Indiana?
It's a state.
The state?
Kind of like Indiana Jones.
Oh. Now that's interesting. Well, Indiana's fairly close to Canada. That's basically like South Canada. What?
I don't think that means what you think it was.
Yeah, it's basically pretty much.
We
Pretty
need
much.
to invest in a map.
Indiana, huh? Indianapolis. Very cool. Okay. E.S. Taylor is on here. David, my son there. Manny Marino. Very cool. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Good to see you, Dave. Are you surviving this hot summer? Poor Dave, I think about you out there working away in this hot summer heat.
It's slightly warm.
It is. It's kind of yucky. But you know what? It happens nearly every year.
Does it?
No, really. Summer, it's some sort of cyclical thing. What?
I'm shocked.
No, it is. Just
No,
take my word for it. Just take-
used it correctly.
Just take my word for it. So we will go live here right now.
Okay.
Because it's 8:00. Hey, everybody, this is Dave here at Pulp Alley. And look, I'm sitting in a different spot. Feels kind of awkward, doesn't it? Feels kind of strange, but yeah, I'm sitting here now. So trying a different camera angle. Actually moved the camera for our live games on Sunday. I wanted to try a little bit of a camera angle where y'all could both see the table and I could address the camera and talk to you guys as well. So on Sunday, this will be one of the 2 shots that you'll basically see. You'll still see the action cam as it moves around the table. But the Cooner Sky Cam is now over there. So I think it'll work nice. It'll give you guys a nice view. Let's see. This is a 30-minute video tonight. We're going to do a Q&A. We're going to give you an update about the Kickstarter, our wonderful Pulp Alley Kickstarter, and give you guys an idea how it's coming along. We have a nice grouping of questions, a lot of them about this scenario and the setup. So we're going to answer some of those. And we would love to hear from you live. So this is a wonderful opportunity to ask some questions live. And Bessy will read them out as we go along. What kind of hat do you call that, Bessy?
Hat.
Hat. She has named it Hat. All right, let's see. Hey, before we get too much further, though, please take a moment and click that like, share, and subscribe button for us. That is important. Did you guys see the video that we did earlier today on, what is this, a Thursday we're calling it? That posted earlier today. It was about 5 minutes or so, and it kind of talked about the scenario and the setup. So give us an idea if you enjoyed that video. A little bit different, but I'd like some feedback on it. The scenario that we're playing on Sunday is called Innsmouth Gold, and it is scenario number 31 out of our Scenario of the Month series. Now, I'm going to remind you guys that the Scenario of the Month series is ongoing. It is still going in 2021. Gosh, we're up to like scenario 44, right? I think is what we just did. So I think, am I wrong or am I making up numbers? I don't know. I could be wrong on that. Let's see. What was the last scenario that we did? I'll go look. I'll be back later. I'm going to go pick up some cigarettes. Yeah. Scenario 44 was the one that we just released. And so, so I guess as we get towards the end of this year, we'll start looking at deciding whether or not we're going to continue it on for next year as well. And I think we probably will. It's been a lot of fun doing these. And it's nice to have a nice broad range of scenarios available for Pulp Alley. We have tons of scenarios. You know, in addition to just the scenarios of the month that we release every month for Pulp Alley, you also have a lot of scenarios in the books. So you have all of the scenarios of the Perilous Island book. You have all of the scenarios in the Vice Alley and the Tomb of the Serpent and the Lost World of Lemuria. So there's a lot of scenarios out there. We are still thinking about the fanzine. It's kind of taken on the name Pulp Zine as well. And we really appreciate a couple folks have already sent in some ideas, not just ideas, but pieces of work that could be included in the fanzine. So that was really nice. Yeah, that was really nice. So we might actually have enough material that we could cobble together an issue number 1 already. So if you would like to help out, if you would like to contribute some stuff to the fanzine, it's not going to happen unless you guys get involved and help us make it happen. My bandwidth is stretched to the limit right now with everything that's on my plate. So I really don't have the time to work on it. Unfortunately, once we get through this Kickstarter, hopefully that'll free up some time and I'll be able to do some more stuff. But right now I'm just absolutely slammed. So let's talk a little bit about the Kickstarter.
First,
you have a question?
Can you tell us what is included in these scenarios of the month?
It's a scenario. That is it. It is I think most of them are about 8 pages or so. It's a scenario. It has a introductory page. It has a summary page. It tells you how to set up for the scenario. It has a random events page. It has a page, normally 1 page, maybe 2 of special rules. Then it has the wrap-up page. It has the cards that are included for that scenario. So you don't have to buy the printed cards. You can easily just use the cards that are here in the page. You know what I mean? Like for this particular scenario, let's say each time a certain character activates, I have to draw a card. Well, instead of drawing the card, I could roll a dice, right? I don't even have to cut the cards out and make them into cards. I could treat it almost like just a chart to go, okay, this is card 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and roll a dice, and that's the card that you draw. So it is it's a scenario. It's basically a single standalone scenario. I mean, you have to have the Pulp Alley rules, but that's pretty much all you have to have. And then, you
and then we also have the fancy dancy printed cards.
Yes, which you'll see. That's what these are. So there's folks that really like to have the printed cards, and if you're one of those folks, then that's awesome, because we do make these printed cards and then we mail these to you. If you do the super subscription, then you can get the printed cards as well. A lot of people do the basic subscription, which does not include the printed cards. And a lot of people do the printed cards. So, it's a nice little extra thing to have on there. For 2021, most of the cards are actually characters.
Yeah.
I think all the way up until this last scenario, I think all of the cards were actually characters. And one of the reasons I wanted to do it that way is because those are so easy to use in other things. Yeah, you can use those character cards, not just in these scenarios, but in lots of other places. So that's what we do with them. Okay, good question about the scenario of the month there. What was included? Yeah, very good. Very cool. All right. Let's see, what else was I going to talk about?
I think we're going to talk about the Kickstarter.
Okay, so just real quickly, an update for you guys on the Kickstarter. So one of the things that we've been focusing on is getting things ready for the starter box. And Bessy spent most of this week sorting and counting out little game counters. So making all of the packages of counters that we will need to put into all of the starter boxes. And when you're doing a couple hundred of these, that's quite a chore. You just kind of split it up and do it while you're watching serial killer documentaries and things like that. So the next thing that we have to do, we also have most of the cards now that we need to complete the starter boxes. We have most of the books, definitely as far as the quick start guides, we've got those in now. So the starter boxes themselves, I think we have well over half of the boxes. We are waiting on more boxes to arrive, but at least we have over half of them already. Let's see what else. The miniatures, yes, the miniatures. We will have to order more miniatures for the starter boxes as well. But we are waiting on more to arrive. So we are continuing to work on the Kickstarter and make sure that we can try to meet or beat the November deadline that we set for ourselves. So we take that really seriously. We want to make sure we nail that. And hopefully, I think maybe next week we'll start trying to get some PDFs sent out too. So those of you guys that have a PDF that is completed, we would like to go ahead and get that sent out just so we can start checking off some of those boxes and getting some of those things sent out to you guys. Do you have any other questions?
No.
Okay. Again, if you would like to contribute to the fanzine, send us an email or a message via Messenger. Please forgive me if I'm a little bit slow in replying, because most of my days right now are focused on those things that must be completed today, right? Like I have a list of absolutely critical items that must be completed every day, and some of those get done. And the rest get pushed off till tomorrow and get added to that critical day. So understand that there's some prioritizing that's going on. And sometimes I'm a little bit slow in responding to the fanzine stuff because it's not super critical at this point. It's not because I'm ignoring you or anything like that, but I just don't have a lot of bandwidth right now. So I have to focus on certain things to make sure I can get them done. I'm going to start going into the Q&A that we had. And we had a lot of questions about this table and a few things like that. So let's talk about that. One question that came up today was, it was either today or yesterday, was what sort of glue do you use for MDF buildings? And I'd like to know what y'all use. I use this Tight Bond premium wood glue. That's what I use when I'm putting together the MDF buildings like foreground and so on and so forth. So let me know. And I think that was basically what most of the folks were saying that they use as well, is the PVA wood glue. It's water-based. It's really easy to wash up and use. So Elmer's makes a wood glue as well, but I know folks that just use, the white stuff as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've used the white PVA glue, which is just Elmer's glue, polyvinyl adhesive. And it works perfectly fine. So it just really doesn't matter that much. Jerry has this tacky glue stuff, which is basically Elmer's glue and with a different name on it. So that's what we use. So here's a question, a rules question that came up. To use defensive fire, and I don't know if I can maybe do an example on this. To use defensive fire, the rules say that the enemy has to move over 3 inches. And the question was, does that mean they have to move over 3 inches within your line of sight? Switch me to this camera over here. So let's say that Phantom Ace here is standing at this corner, right? Can you see him right here? He's standing at this corner. I'm going to move the camera. So he's standing at this corner. And let's say that this deep one comes around the corner and is rushing him. Well, see, he only has line of sight to him for like maybe an inch there. And absolutely, it's not written in the rules that way, because that is not the way it's intended to be. If the enemy moved over 3 inches, then you can use defensive fire. And what that is trying to represent is the idea that, someone rushing at you is probably making quite a commotion. What it also, big, yeah, they got their flippers on, flap, 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 flap. And the other thing that's happening there is that you are rushing straight into the barrel of somebody holding a gun. That is always going to put you at a little bit of a disadvantage. So what the rule says is, if you moved over 3 inches, then the enemy may use defensive fire. There are no ifs, ands, or buts really about that. So it does not require them to have line of sight for 3 inches. That's not a requirement. Okay, send me back. Hope that made sense. So we try to be fairly specific when we're writing those rules. So it doesn't mean that we always are successful. So we definitely encourage you. It was a good darn question, and I'm glad it was asked, because I've seen it come up before, and I forgot to mention it before. But very good question. Always ask on stuff like that, because it definitely helps to clarify. What are the tiles you used for this table? There's a video out there about how we put these black tiles together, or a version of this. And these big black tiles, if you saw the video where I was actually putting the table together, you'll see that, these blue tiles, there were 1, 2, 3, 4 of those blue tiles. And then I put this black tile on top of it. These are tiles that I got from Lowe's. They are floor tiles. They are self-adhesive vinyl floor tiles, 18 inches by 18 inches, that I bought from Lowe's. I did nothing to them. There is no painting. There is nothing. And I use them and use them and use them. And they look great every time I put them on the table. Absolutely a gem to use. So that's what those tiles are. These light gray tiles are like an Armstrong CRT compressed, tile. They're like an industrial or a business sort of tile. They are not self-adhesive, these light gray ones. But what we did on those is we basically cut them with a utility knife. So it's a 12 by 12 tile. And then we cut it with a utility knife and make it into the sizes that we want. And you score it a few times with the utility knife, and then you just snap it. And it just breaks, very nice. It's not that they are brittle or that they aren't durable, because, they're made to be walked on. But when you want to cut them, you could score it a few times with a good utility knife, good sharp utility knife, and then you can just snap it and it breaks. And then we cut a 1-inch grid into it, scored it with a 1-inch grid, and kind of buffed it. Now, these tiles deserve their own video, I think. And I don't think we've ever done a video about our sidewalk tiles. So there's one thing to kind of tell you how I did it, but then there's another to actually show you. So I think that's a good enough explanation for now. Armstrong gray tiles, that's what they are. But I'll try and do a video for those.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Okay. What are the buildings that we use? These are by Crescent Root Studio, and I don't believe they make these anymore. I think Crescent Root, good or bad, they retire their sets over time. So this is, and they had some really good sets that I really wish I'd have got, years ago, but then they ended up retiring them, and now I can't get them anymore. But anyway, it's a good reason not to wait on Crescent Root stuff. If you see something you like, you probably ought to get it. This set, I believe, is discontinued now. I don't believe you can get this set from them anymore. I could be wrong, but you can go to the Crescent Root Studios site. Not only do they do pre-painted, like this is exactly how these buildings came. Beautiful, beautiful shoes. I'm going to send them to the other camera again here. Look at those. Aren't those beautiful? All of these are Crescent Root, and really nice, pre-painted and pre-constructed. They actually came exactly like this. I didn't do a darn thing to them. Absolutely nothing. The doors in there, most of the doors open and close. Just really, really cool stuff. Anyway, but why am I showing it to you? Because it's not available anymore. Okay, go ahead and switch me again. But they have a lot of other cool stuff. Go over there and check them out. Watch the ship that we used for the major plot point. That is something that I designed myself and 3D printed. Yeah. That's several years ago now. So I don't know. I may have the files around somewhere. All of that stuff got kind of lost. But I designed that boat in like SolidWorks or something like that, and then I had it 3D printed. So when I had access to all of those things, which I don't anymore. So now I don't make that stuff anymore.
And that one's a smaller version of it.
That's the exact same boat, but just a smaller version, which is really cool in 3D printing, because you can make larger or smaller versions of stuff so easily just by changing the scale. Any questions for the boys and girls?
Yeah, Vern wants to know, when Dave was setting up, I saw him put some facings on the quay side. Can he show those?
He's making stuff up. He's making stuff up. He's making up words now. Yeah, I'll move the camera. Switch me again to this camera. So these are Hearst molds, my Hearst mold blocks that I use so often. So I just glued a bunch of them together to form this this little seawall here, and painted it up. And then of course, this is just my normal sidewalk stuff on top of it. Nothing's really attached. Everything comes loose. What?
Like the whole...
No, that would not work. It's two different pieces, and there's a split right there underneath the pier, underneath the dock right there is where it splits, and there's a piece that goes in to kind of hide the split. But that's it. And just the blocks that I made out of the Hearst molds. And I use these blocks over and over. I have tons of videos about talking about these silly little blocks that I make. This is the same stuff I make pyramids out of and temples out of, and on and on and on. And when you have 100 or so of them laying around, you go, oh, I guess I need to put together something for next to the water. You throw that out there. Did you just switch on me? Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Good question, Verd. Thank you for asking. Let's see. Where can I get the deep ones? And the deep ones in this one, I guess I'll do the camera again. These were sculpted by Bob Murch, but they're available through Crucible Crush in Canada. So these, and it's a fairly large set. And when you go and look at these, be sure and look at their investigators as well. So you have these Crucible Crush, and it's a fairly large box. It comes with, I don't know, a bunch of them in metal, and then it has a big fatty in resin. Do what?
Is that the technical term?
And then it has a big fatty here in that is in resin also. I'm not sure if I'm getting that to focus for you guys, but hopefully you can kind of see it. So I think that's the whole set of deep ones that you can get from them, but also a couple really cool sets of investigators, also sculpted by Bob Murch. Go ahead and switch me. All right. I think that is going to be just about it for tonight, unless you guys have questions for us. Now, remember, this Sunday, it is a solo game. We are playing Innsmouth Gold. And not only is it a solo game, but it was designed for one single league. So there's not even a bot league in this one. So I don't have to control another bot league. And that's not uncommon in a lot of our Pulp Alley scenarios that include a decent number of NPCs. If the scenario includes NPCs, then it's not uncommon for me not to include a bot league to play against. So rather than fighting against another league, Phantom Ace is really just competing against the scenario. So remember that. Now, I am using I wanted to roll for some stuff. Guys, can I roll for some stuff real quick so I can get ready for Sunday? Phantom Ace has a network of supporters. So he's got 3 die 10 in network of supporters, and he got 3 successes there. So I'm not going to pick out the items right now in front of you. Network of supporters equals 3 successes. Gage is a inventor, so I get to roll for her inventor before the game, and she got 2 successes. So for Gage and her inventor, she got 2 successes. And then the other thing I wanted to roll for is the random event. And I tell you what, boys and girls, this scenario is about as mean as they come when you have to roll for your events. There's very few nice things and a whole lot of yucky things. So I'm going to roll a D10 for a random event. D10, random event, a 5 there behind us. Place 1 deep one in contact with 1 random player character. Now, on most charts, a 5 is going to be something probably pretty good, but this scenario is unkind. So one character is going to have a, will you shuffle up these cards for me real quick, Bessy? So I'll take my time over the next couple days or so and pick out a gadget or a gear item for Gage. She's on the table. I got Roswell also. So one character is going to have a deep one in contact with him at the start of the scenario. So we'll say Phantom Ace is 1-2, Roswell is 3-4, and Gage is 5-6. Okay, Roswell has a deep one in contact with her. So Roz has a deep one standing right on top of her. How awful is that, boys and girls? How awful. You see that? Oh, how awful is that? Now, the other thing that we need to do real quickly is at the start of the turn, we need to draw X for, at the start of each turn, X deep ones within 3 inches of each spawn point. So this spawn point here, which is this blue dot, will have 2 deep ones over here, and the other side will have 1. Okay, and that's it. That's all we needed to get ready for. So within 3 inches, probably put them over there, and then we'll have 2 more over at this one within 3 inches. So something like that. Okay. All right, boys and girls, that is it for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I really, really do appreciate all your support. It means just a lot to us. So if you have any questions, suggestions, we'd love to hear from you. Make sure you leave a comment down below, and be sure to click that like button, because that helps us gain more viewers. And make sure you subscribe. If you're not already a subscriber, be sure you subscribe and click the bell so you'll be notified when we upload a new video. And that's it. Yep. All right, boys and girls, that's all for tonight. We will see you next time. Bye, everybody.